Hi.
What?
Hello.
What's this? What's up?
How's it going?
It's going. How are you?
Isolated?
Isolated together, but isolated.
I
Yeah.
haven't been outside the house in like a week. It's fun.
Can you introduce yourselves for me and tell me a fun fact about you?
You want to go that way?
Yeah.
You can start.
Okay, sure. I'm Evan. I play the guitar. And a fun fact about me is that I cannot burp.
I actually didn't know that. I'm Josh. I play drums. Fun fact.
I don't know.
Another great fun fact.
Damn, dude.
But you guys know it. We talked about it.
Oh, like your dance in high school.
Yeah, sure. I agree. That's fun.
Okay.
I'm Peter. I am the vocalist of the group, and my fun fact is I went to high school with Timothy Chalamet. So
What? That's your fun fact?
Yeah.
My whole life is that
pretty
I
fun.
Hi, I'm Liam. I play bass. Yeah.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
I did not go to high school with Timothy Chalamet. I went to high school with Justin King. He's a really nice guy. I wish I talked to him more.
Okay.
Okay. This was a question asked at my freshman orientation that we ask everyone. If you can be any utensil in the kitchen, what would you be and why?
I would be a knife, because you can spread peanut butter. And my favorite part of my day, some days, is when I lick the peanut butter off my knife.
He's want to get licked.
Okay. Liam, you can go. You're added into the rotation like that.
Can opener. Specialized. I have a purpose.
Very nice.
French press, because like when you press the coffee down, that's, at least since quarantine, that's probably been the best part of my day, is every morning like you get to press the coffee down and watch it come through.
I would be like a potato peeler because I'd probably be left alone pretty often. You know, you don't peel potatoes that often, so I can just chill in the drawer.
Where are you guys originally from?
I'm from Franklin, Michigan, which, as you probably know, we're based in Ann Arbor, at U of M, and my hometown's like 45 minutes away.
From New Jersey, just like a town. Like Princeton, Trenton area. Like Peter was born 15 minutes away from where I grew up, so it's weird that we now hang out.
My family currently lives in St. Joseph, Michigan, which is like 2.5 hours from here.
And then I'm from New York.
What are you currently listening to?
Should I go first?
Yeah, let's go in order.
An artist I really, really love, called Waxahachie. She just dropped an album yesterday, and I'm like super biased, because I like her so much, but I really, really enjoy it, and I probably do it a lot.
I'm trying to think. I've been listening to the same 3 albums this entire quarantine. I've been listening like Talk Talk, I guess would be my answer. They're like a post-rock band. I don't know, like everything.
I've also been listening to a new record by Porches called Rookie Music. Yeah. And then he's been, one cool thing is like since all his tours got canceled, he's been every single night like going live on Instagram and like taking requests and playing like funny covers and stuff. And then like Blood Orange, who's Dev Hynes, came on and played a couple songs with him the other day too. It was honestly like really cute. He's like, we're gonna get through this together. He's like, I know this sucks, but at least I get to play music somehow.
I've been listening to Whitney's latest album because we're writing a song that's kind of similar to like how Whitney did the song. And so not only do I like the record, but I'm trying to like listen for their mixing techniques and stuff like that.
I love asking this question. Normally gives me more material of what I should be listening to. My next question for you is, what is your favorite album in your personal collection?
I don't know.
Oof, that is a loaded question.
Wait, what's the question? Liam was asking some dumb shit.
Favorite album in your collection?
Oh, it's What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. That's the number one album of all time. That's it.
Abbey Road.
That's like really, really hard for me. Because there's like a few albums that I really associate with different times of my life, and I'm not like that anymore.
Choose your favorite time in your life.
Okay, so there's my Los Campesinos called Hold On Now Youngster, and that's probably my favorite album of all time. If I had to pick one.
When you say in your collection, are you saying like that we own?
Physical, yeah.
Oh, okay. Probably Premium by Sam Evian.
Yeah.
I kind of did. I don't have Marvin Gaye's What's Going On in my collection. I do have Captain Beefheart though, and this like old sea shanties record that I was showing Samuel today, but you didn't like it. It's Gordon Bach. I don't know, but it's like this.
Oh yeah.
This weird folk sea shanties record. If you have a chance to listen to sea shanties,
Okay.
check them out.
Well, damn.
I wouldn't.
I like.
Okay. My next question for you is: you're currently going on a road trip together. What are 3 songs that must be in your playlist? Well, we'll do 4 songs because there are 4 of you.
We've done this.
Yeah, we've done this.
You have?
Yeah, like when we went from Chicago to Grand Rapids, and then when we went to New Jersey, yeah, because there were songs like we know our overlap, you know, like we pick songs for each other, sort of.
So I guess I'll go first since I've been doing that. When we went on this road trip to New Jersey about a year ago, it was right when the newest Local Natives album dropped.
Oh, yeah.
And even though that album was one that dropped, I think the song that I like associate with that ride is Coin by Local Natives, which is probably one of my favorite songs out there. So that would be about it, I guess.
I'd say probably a Japanese house song. Like the band's called The Japanese House. Probably the song Something Has to Change, which has that like cool guitar. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Chicago by Sufjan Stevens because our first like tour was going to Chicago, but like Big Joe, Chicago, that side of the state. So one memories of that.
What's that one 1975 song that I feel like we based a lot of our yeah. All I do is
It's not Living Without You.
yeah, it's not. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
You know what? I haven't listened to 2 times. Two times.
Yeah,
Like,
I've been listening to Frail State of Mind, which is just sad version of 2 times. So yeah, but we went through a huge phase of that. I remember you came to like that Ada party and 2 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
What musicians inspire you to be a better musician?
so there's like 2 ways I can answer that. One, I like really love like the online guitar community, which if you know is like lots of like sort of this cliche like Instagram guitarists like a thing. But there's this guy named Tom Quayle who's like this jazz fusion like amazing musician, and in terms of my guitar playing, it's like he's something I really aspire to, but it's not really relevant to like the Kelseys because it's not really like music we make. But as a lyricist, Stuart Murdoch is the lead singer of Bell and Sebastian, which is like an indie band from Scotland, and he I think writes the greatest lyrics, and is definitely someone I try to emulate.
Yeah, I have like a bass playing hero and then like an artist hero. Like one thing I don't know if you guys talked about is that like we all wrote the songs together, so it's like 4 songwriters. So I guess we all have like that perspective on it. So like as an artist, it's got to be David Bowie, duh. And as like I should have done Bowie second because now my payoff is gonna be nothing because my bass playing hero is just like just some guy from some obscure band. So I'm not gonna. It's a bass player from Everything, Jeremy Pritchard. He's the king. But, yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna give 2 answers because everyone else has them, so cheaters. Drumming wise, it's Nate Smith, who's like this amazing studio drummer. He played he did a ton of the production and all the drums on Brittany Howard's new record. Who Brittany Howard is like the lead singer of Alabama Shakes, who just did like a solo thing that was honestly really cool. And then lyrically it'd probably be the lead singer of Unknown Mortal Orchestra, who's Ruben Nielsen, because he writes lyrics that are like pretty political and like tend to make a lot of references, but without being sort of annoying and like shoving his ideas down your throat.
Singing wise, like not gonna lie, Chris Martin, and also Taylor Rice from Local Natives. I feel like those two. And then I guess it's already two. Songwriting wise, like it's always been kind of Paul McCartney. It's what.
So what is your writing process like?
Well, it's kind of changed over time.
Yeah, it's different for like everything.
Yeah,
Right.
it's different for every song.
But it usually starts with like somebody has an idea, whether it's like a phrase or a melody or something, and then it's usually just presented to the group, and we have like a big writing session. So it's not usually like one person just writes the whole thing and then comes to the group and like, all right, this is it. Like build your part around this. It's more like very collaborative.
It's heavily discouraged to bring a finished song.
Yeah. I'd say especially with like the quarantine most recently, we've been doing writing songs almost completely from the beginning together.
Yeah.
Which about like for our last EP, it was more like demo based for someone to have a demo that's more constructed.
Yeah.
So definitely like taking it back to the roots together with our most recent stuff that hasn't been released yet.
And I think one thing that like I've definitely heard from other musicians is different. Like with almost everything we've written, lyrics come last. Like it tends to be the idea, the main melody of the song, or like some main structure of the song, and then like lyrics are sort of designated and someone that kind of influences the tone, I guess.
Oh.
What's your favorite part of a song that you've written? It could be like a lyric or a guitar riff or drum sequence, anything.
Oh, they just keep getting better and better. So it's like I want to say the sneak that we're writing some of our new stuff, but nobody would know what that is. But out of our stuff that's released,
We have this song called Everything's Beautiful, and like the outro to it is like this really jubilant like instrumental thing, and then like both vocals come in, and it's just very powerful. And that's like always a really fun thing to do live, and also whenever I hear it, I'm like, yeah.
Very 80s too.
I second that.
Yeah, I'd say
So
the
that-
ending. Yeah, sorry. Step on your toes there, Peter.
No worries.
No, I'm probably gonna say in FOMO, which is like our newest single that we released. There's a post chorus that's only after the second chorus. The like, no fear when I'm with you.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's really cool because I think like pop music has been getting more into post choruses, and that like feels like a really comfortable post chorus, and the drum part there changes like so little in the song as a whole, but there's like a couple little things that change in that are, I don't know, like very tasteful in a way that I think like I wouldn't have written them when I was younger. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Can you describe your sound for me in 4 words?
We just get one word.
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna listen. I'm bad at that.
I'm bad at words.
I feel like Josh.
Shiny. Slick.
Wait, can I put those two together as glitzy?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. One of 4 words is glitzy.
Are you gonna say maximalist? That's your buzzword.
Well, we are super maximalist. No
That's
song, like, we tend to always, like, there's just, like, a ton of sounds and everything, like,
Wall of sound.
wall of sound, definitely. So, yeah, we'll say maximalist, keep the buzzword buzzing.
What's the maximalist?
That sounds like never mind. It sounds like a robot name. Let's see, math.
That's pretty good.
Trendy? I don't know. Like we do
Trendy?
Well, no.
What
Like,
the-
we keep an eye on, like,
I'm gonna
what's
veto
popular.
that. I'm gonna veto that.
We look at what's popular and we're like, okay, that works. That doesn't work. So,
I mean, like aware, yeah, but aware doesn't seem like a word I'd want.
all right, this is supposed to be like a 5-minute exercise. We're stretching this out.
Aware.
What was great?
Ricky, Maximus, Indie?
Wow, this is bad.
Ernest, I think honestly, like Ernest makes sense. Like we've been focusing on that so much in songwriting. Like we don't tend to write songs about abstract things. We tend to write them about like us and our perspective, which
Yeah.
like I think is a thing that not all songwriters do.
Now it's important to be honest.
Yeah. That's 3 that I'm comfortable with.
Guitar driven?
Well, sometimes.
Lots of guitar solos. Which
It's not that big.
no, people don't really do that in a pop setting as much anymore, I feel.
Yeah, make that one word. Lots of guitar solos. Flirty, Maximalist, Ernest, lots of guitar solos.
Your opinion of releasing an artist's unreleased music after they've passed away. Should it be released or should it not?
Oh, that's confusing.
So wait, how did you go from describe your band to what is the nature of posthumous fame?
I think there's like
There's a cycle.
that's a really hard question. I think for me, like a lot of the time it seems money grubbing because the people who have posthumous releases are so popular. But in certain cases, like Mac Miller, like his album was almost entirely done. So like I feel like that's what the artist would have wanted.
I don't know, but Avicii's, they released Avicii's album like a year after he passed away. And that was like, I think he only did like half of it. Most of it was finished by other producers. I think it was like cool that they paid homage to him and was like trying to finish his work. Like it felt respectful.
Sort of like a memoriam.
Yeah.
You can tell when something's done cynically, I think. Like you can hear it in the music and you can hear it when it's like done with respect. Mm-hmm. So like I haven't listened to the Avicii record, the Mac Miller record, but based on things I've heard, it's like it's done as like a celebration of the artist's work and like whether it's a continuation of an unfinished product or project, excuse me. Or like Peter was saying, like kind of a celebration of that catalog by like all the people that Avicii influenced. Like there's good ways to go about it and there's bad ways to go about it. I think Prince put out one too that was also like respectable. But also it was a Juice WRLD who died recently that Eminem featured on his record and it's just,
Juice WRLD. Yeah.
So like Eminem just doing like it's a cash grab. Like you can feel it, you know.
Yeah. Oh, also Bowie had Black Star.
Black Star was like written and like put out. Like that wasn't like released posthumously.
I think it was. I think he died before it was officially released.
Yeah, but it was done.
Yeah, I know, but that's an interesting posthumous release because it was fully done. He died in between like it's being a finished product and it coming out.
I guess so, yeah, but he was gonna release it anyway.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know this, but did he like plan on
Dying?
No, but like releasing it after.
You don't?
So it's not like a posthumous like plan.
I do not know.
No, I don't think it was planned.
It'd be crazy.
If he was like, I'm gonna die. This is my legacy.
Yeah, like record something and it's like save it for when you die, like write it in your will. It's hidden in my basement.
Oh, that would actually be kind of cool.
You can only release.
This is an interesting release strategy.
Okay,
The whole
sorry,
album's
we're
about
getting off
Yeah.
base here.
Yeah. Evan, do you have more you'd like that?
Oh, I just would say sometimes as like a fan, if it's about like really hungry for more, then that's something that's like super interesting in every B-side and going to be like Stevie Ray Vaughan is like an awesome guitarist and there's lots of like posthumous like live recordings and stuff that's just like always worth listening to and that's released after
So I'll give backstory on this question. It came about because of our PR director listened to the Little Peep songs that were released and said how they sounded like bedroom demos and were super unfinished. And so we wanted to try to start a conversation about this since we feel like it's been happening more frequently in the industry. Yeah. And one of the things like we want to talk about is maybe this should go into like a contract or like an artist will. And we've had this compared to Kurt Cobain's journal. And we've also had like bands turn around and like one lead singer of a band was like, if I die, God forbid, don't ever use my vocals, but the band can continue just with my voice. So it's pretty interesting to see like what people think.
Yeah, that's interesting. Didn't Linkin Park release stuff too after?
Probably, I feel like everyone has done it a little bit.
Yeah,
I guess so.
everyone who's dead has done it.
Especially when it's like high profile, like tragedy sort of thing.
Yeah.
But what you're saying about it being like bedroom recordings and stuff, it's also gotten a lot easier to record stuff. So people like the catalog artists have is a lot bigger now and a lot easier to access.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have anything profound to end that statement with, but like it's easier now to do that basically.
Also, Lil Peep was released by his mom. Like his mom's the executrix of his will.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's a really odd scenario because like I wouldn't want my parents to release my stuff. I don't know. Okay.
If you could change one thing about the music industry as it is today, what would it be and why?
Spotify playlist.
Yes.
Hate it.
Bring the album back.
Oh, how
Agreed.
like
That's the kind of thing.
Yeah, algorithms in terms of like streaming are so frustrating just because of like how much intense bias there is and how important like labels play into it.
Yeah.
So it sort of like manufactures this idea of like streaming can make it way easier if you hit all the like if you check all the right boxes first, or it can make it way more difficult if you're like kind of consistently like living in the margins, I guess. They definitely like perpetuate a bias in the same way that like people are seeing problems with like AI as we start to use it more. Yeah, and the album for sure.
Yeah, it's sort of, you know, like our attention spans are so shortened these days, it feels like, and it just seems that you'd almost be doing a disservice to yourself by releasing an album when you know you can get more plays if you just release them all as singles.
Yeah.
So you have this like artistic, and again, that's like an age-old debate of like the artist versus like the economic reality of it. But like something as fundamental as like an album, as like a piece of art, having that fall by the wayside, because you were literally screwing yourself over otherwise, just seems a little sad.
Yeah, I know Spotify has definitely changed the culture in a sense. Like it is this streaming age with a lot of like single instead of full album. But at the same time, like I kind of feel like at the same time it's kind of like, well, as we know, like vinyl's becoming more popular, and I know a lot of people are now going back to buying CDs. So it's kind of crazy to see how like the influences Spotify has kind of had, but at the same time, like I know it's great for exposure because like I find a lot of the bands I listen to from Spotify. So anything's possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a blessing and a curse because, like, we've been able to build our fan base a ton through it, but we've also had to, like, invest a lot of money into it, which kind of sucks. And, like, a part of me feels like a lot of it is just, like, luck, like, for the bands that get picked up on these bigger playlists and stuff. Like, there's a lot of talented people, I feel like, that we know that aren't getting Spotify recognition because they don't know how to like work the system. So,
but like the ones who do make it, what you're saying about how like people are still buying CDs and vinyl records, or like the sales of those are like huge now, right? Haven't those gone up a ton? Like more than they used to be.
Vinyl's biggest year was last year.
Yeah, vinyl's biggest year was last year. And it's like kind of like the Spotify snake is eating its own head because like people are starting to see like, oh, now this physical media has more value to me because it's like harder to get. I don't know, but like I feel like people still like albums somewhere, and there will always be demand for albums. So I'm not as apocalyptic as some of us.
I think there's a beauty in an album in the sense that like you're kind of going on a journey with the band, either through I don't know, like I know a lot of them are now like conceptual in a sense, like a lot of bands are like, this is now a character, and then you're following a character through an album. But I think at the same time, like listening in full, which I've been doing a lot because I have nothing else to do, kind of changes how the perspective of like, instead of just throwing something on a playlist.
Yeah. No, it's also like artistically, it's just you can say so much more because you can use motifs more effectively and like intertwine themes to sort of be in conversation with one another. And I think that's why like it's so much more interesting to me to like taking a full album rather than like a single off the album. But I think there is like sort of a curve where it's like you have to game the Spotify algorithm enough with like singles to generate a fan base, and then you have a fan base to be like, okay, here's an album, and then it's like the physical media starts to become prevalent enough to like have a good impact.
Leads to my next question. What's the scene like where you are?
Yeah.
Right now it's on pause. Yeah, the DIY basement scene's the healthiest place to be. Well, it's sort of confusing because, like, I'd say in Ann Arbor, it is not what it once was. But I would say in Michigan, like, there are pockets that are, like, really cool. Like Kalamazoo, which is on the far west side of Michigan, like, has a really good DIY community. Like, really, really strong. And Detroit has a pretty good DIY community as well. And Ypsilanti, which is, like, they're intertwined.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap, not like a ton, but between MC and Ann Arbor, there's like an avenue of a lot of emo and like punk and all that. But like, because we're at like Ann Arbor is a university city, like college town, there's like a decent diversity of music. There's Sabbatical Bob, which is like this 15-person horn like punk band. And then you have like Andrew Doria, which is like another indie pop band. And those are both like really strong groups. But like just the fact that, I mean, those are only two examples. And there's a music collective here that does a lot of R&B and pop. And it's like the fact that those bands coexist is really cool. But they're like the only bands that do that. Like we don't have like a R&B scene. We don't have like an indie scene. We don't have a funk scene really. It's like we have representatives of each of those styles, and those are like the only bands you can get for that. Like we're the only band that does pop music.
Yeah. No, Ann Arbor supposedly used to be like crazy.
Yeah.
But I guess things have settled down. I think the scene is small and like fairly tight. Like I think I'd say we know almost every person in the scene.
Yeah, it's not like this huge thing. Like I remember freshman year thinking it was gonna be like artists everywhere, but it's not like non-existent. Like I know other campuses are far less like active in terms of like student musicians. So it's like a happy medium, I guess. It could be better though, for sure.
I thought it was kind of disappointing.
That was good.
This kind of leads to my next question of what is your favorite venue that you've performed in?
Oh, LOL. Well, there's this one venue. So one of the problems I think leads to the scene not being as big as it could be is that there really is like one venue for like rock music, I guess, or like
Really any
music.
amplified music.
Yeah, any loud music, and that's called the Blind Pig, which is like sort of this historic like dive bar, and we played there so many times to the point where it's almost like a joke now.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, another show at the Pig.
There's probably been like 7 times.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's like our favorite venue.
No.
That's like our goal, I guess.
What's the
Well,
coolest?
something like if Adam's doing sound, like it's a good venue if Adam's doing sound. It's tight.
Oh, Landmark is cool.
That was really cool.
We played in like a apartment building for our EP show, and it was originally on this deck. We had like a couple hundred people come through, and it was really cool. And then people complained to the cops. We had to move it inside into this like small. It was like a game room or something.
It was so odd.
It turned out to be like the best night ever. Just like everything worked out.
On the amount of people that would normally fit on like a city block size rooftop are now like in a small room.
It was so hot. It was so hot.
It was gross. It was a good time.
A little backstory. I don't think the apartment complex realized what they were getting themselves into. I think we just sort of asked. Like we had someone who we knew who like lived there ask, "Oh, can we do like a show on the deck?" And they just said yes. And I don't think they were thinking like we would have all this amplified music and that we'd have as many people as we did, because eventually they said like we couldn't. People who didn't live there couldn't be there unless they had a guest. So we only knew like 2 people who actually lived in the apartment complex. They'd like shuttle people, like groups of like 4, and it was like a really cool night.
Yeah.
But we also got to play Rackham.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
super cool. That was super cool.
That was like 1,100 people, and we got to open for Gretchen Whitmer, who was running for governor.
Yeah, we got to open for Bernie Sanders. It was sick.
How did you guys pick your respective?
So I actually started playing violin when I was like in 2nd grade, and I just like sort of asked my parents. I don't like know why, but like I just wanted to play the violin. And then I was playing, like I was really into it for a while. And then I still played, but like my sophomore year, like when I started listening to like music that I liked. It was all like guitar based, and I really just like wanted to play the music that I listened to. So I started taught myself guitar while playing violin, and then I mean I don't really play violin that much anymore, but that was like the avenue for me to start.
I played trombone in the school band for like 5 years, and like all the cool kids in the band were this keyboard player, this drummer, and the saxophone player, and they were always jamming. Like they were, you know, so far away from me, this lowly trombone player. So I was like, I want to be in a band with them. And my sister's ex-boyfriend was teaching me guitar at that point. I wasn't very good because I didn't do any of that like practicing stuff. But if you don't practice on guitar, but you kind of know how to play it, then bass is a great instrument for you. So my brother was trying to play Crazy Train on guitar. He's a left-handed guy, and he's trying to play it right-handed. And he wouldn't give up the guitar. I wanted to practice, so I just played his bass, and it's been like that ever since. And I did get in a band with the cool kids. Turns out they weren't that cool. They were just like band nerds. So was I.
Yeah. I played percussion all throughout high school and did like drumline and stuff, and wanted to play drums. I liked drumline a lot in terms of like how things are orchestrated and how regimented and sort of militaristic it is, but I thought it was frustrating sometimes that like you couldn't be expressive and like play with things more, and drum set you definitely could, so I chose to focus on that more as I came into college.
I started singing in elementary school, like probably in choir. I didn't really take it seriously, and I remember like one day we were like in a pizza joint, and then I was singing, and some lady was like to my mom, "Your kid has a good voice. You should have him audition for this other choir thing." And I thought it was stupid, so I didn't do it. But then I was like, oh, maybe it is cool. So then I fell in love with singing, and then I was like, it would be cool to also be a songwriter. And so the next best step from there was just learn acoustic guitar and piano, because that's just like what I had seen from songwriters. So yeah, not that interesting. Pretty straightforward.
Wait, what do you do when you're not writing music? Not during this quarantine, like normally.
In the real world. Do you want to go in order?
Yeah, sure, I'll start. So I'm like a real life nerd, like not like a band nerd, like a super nerd. So like I spend a lot of time doing like research for like scientific research. So that is one way I spend my time. But also I spend a lot of time, aside from like writing music and like doing stuff with the band, just like playing guitar and like I guess practicing guitar, just because it's something that really like calms me down. And yeah, but it's like, okay, maybe I'm cheating, but it's like my free time, you know what I mean? Like I do music and then I do my school and my research.
I do music and then I do music.
Sorry, that was incoherent, but yeah.
I cast long pensive looks out windows most of the time. And then that eats up about 50% of my time. And then the rest of that is spent, doing things I needed to get done a week ago and watching movies that my friends suggested to me 2 months ago. So any hope of me bringing that up in conversation and us both enjoying the conversation evaporates. And that leads me back to the window. So that's what I spend most of my time doing.
Yeah. I'm an engineer, so I have a lot of. I did like a capstone project related to that. That was really cool, and now I'm just doing stuff that's not really cool related to that, but still takes up a lot of my time. And then I write predominantly poetry and some longer form stuff, and then I'm also part of a professional environmental fraternity. So we do like volunteering and outreach and activism and protests and things along those lines, and then also just like hang out and do stuff in nature predominantly.
I work a job most days, so that takes up a lot of time. But hobby-wise, I play a lot of online chess and watch online chess videos. So.
Oh, I like to read too. I forgot about that.
I like to read a lot.
Yeah, Liam likes to read a lot too. He underplayed that.
Okay. I'm assuming. Okay, actually, just what are your majors? We'll just do that.
Okay, so I major in neuroscience.
Okay.
I'm a double major. Thank you. History and Russian.
I'm mechanical engineering with a focus in sustainability engineering.
I'm a business major.
Next question. We're just gonna keep going. Do you have any pre-show rituals or superstitions?
Any what?
Pre-show rituals or superstitions?
Oh, pre-show.
One thing that I do is I try to wear a pair of guitar socks for every show. I have maybe like 6 different pairs of socks with guitars on them, and it's just like a fun thing.
We eat dinner together.
Yeah, we do always eat dinner together.
We eat there a lot, like
I'd say approximately every day.
On show days, it's like we have to eat dinner.
Yeah. And for a while, we did the bowl of cereal, but that kind of died.
Yeah.
We'd have like a bowl of cereal post dinner, like as our dessert, sort of, Yeah. I stretch before I go on stage.
I don't know. I can think of anything or two.
I don't do anything.
Sometimes vocal warm-ups.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Not really.
I use the bathroom about 38
yeah, that.
take a shower.
Yeah, Liam takes a shower and makes us late.
I need to be clean to perform.
Oh, God.
How are you spending quarantine?
Together.
We are writing a ton of music.
Yeah.
A lot. We've never worked on this many songs at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's been really fun.
We've also been playing a lot of games.
Yeah.
Whether that be like
Lots of game
we have like
nights.
a Wii, that's maybe some like board games and stuff. So that's been kind of fun.
We've been cleaning a lot more. We have a consistent chore schedule now, which is very exciting. I made some cookies the other day. Started baking. That's fun. Nice for the house.
I made French toast.
That's just for you.
Yeah, but I made it. Like
You said
baby
that now
steps.
4 times.
Yeah.
He's really proud of it.
Yeah.
He's really proud of his cookies.
No, I shared them with everyone. It was like that was like a thing for the house.
Yeah.
So, like I made cookies for me.
But I burnt the French toast, so everyone got to smell it. Everyone got a nice like. We can move on.
Okay. I have some spitfire questions for you, so say the first thing that comes into your head. Favorite color?
Black.
Green.
Blue.
Favorite book?
House of Scorpion.
Catch 22.
As I lay dying.
In the heart of the sea.
Favorite movie?
Submarine.
Stalker.
Really?
That's
I
like
can't think of a
that,
single
but
movie.
Submarine-
Oh, her.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Although it really isn't, but that's the first one that's coming to
That's
mind.
it's like the first
I didn't know you liked Submarine that much. Alex Turner did the whole soundtrack.
Yeah, I know.
of that.
I love that soundtrack.
Yeah. I haven't watched that. We should watch it.
Fire.
Sorry.
Favorite TV show?
Don't say the opposite.
How I Met Your Mother.
Really?
Actually, Batman.
Community or I'm gonna say BoJack.
I don't watch TV that much. Easy.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, that's good. Curved, yeah. That's,
Seinfeld.
Favorite type of food?
Beep and Bop.
Dude, I'll say Bibimbap. Bibimbap.
What?
It's salty, it's sweet, it's great.
Okay, bindi masala, which is like an okra curry dish.
My mom's pasta.
I feel like I do a good job with the fire. That is just like we hit a wall.
I'm doing a okay job in second there. I don't know. It's like I like food. It's what?
Let's continue.
Yeah.
Like 2 more. Okay. If you can collaborate with any artist dead or alive, who would it be?
That's hard. Bob Dylan.
Really?
I love that.
He's crotchety now.
But okay.
Oscar Wilde.
Probably Porches, Aaron Maine.
Right now, Maggie Rogers would be cool.
Yeah.
And favorite state that you've been to? It doesn't have to be as a band. It could just be in general.
Wait, you said state?
State, yes.
I like Michigan.
New York.
Utah.
Maine was really cool.
Okay. And now my last question for you that's not a Spitfire question, just answer as you would. What are your goals for 2020?
Survive.
Right.
But he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
I know.
It's just like, well, so much has been up in the air, especially, I mean, us three, and you can't. So Peter, Josh, and I are seniors. So that means like next year is like a big transition for us. And it really is, and it's the case for like every senior class across the country. It's throwing a lot of uncertainty onto like our future plans, I'd say, which is nerve-wracking. So it's like I had goals for like the end of senior year. I had goals for like next year and stuff. But I'm just hoping everything doesn't get screwed up in terms of what my plan is right now. So it's hard to actually think beyond that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
I didn't. I
Go
was
first.
a week there.
It kind of made sense.
It's
Yeah.
like this year's been a ton of like not just the coronavirus, just like everything seems to be
This year sucks.
going crazy.
Terrible.
Not for us as a band, though. I'd like that to be clear.
Yeah.
Just like the context of the world is bad. I think we're in a pretty good place.
It's difficult to make plans or have goals in 2020 because things are changing so quickly. So
Yeah.
the best plan is no plan.
Okay.
I want to make work with right now. We have a lot of stuff started. That's cool. Figure out how to continue this as long as possible.
Have a great day.
It's
Yeah,
it.
you too.
Bye.
Later.
Not